back, code friends. This is St. Raz, and we are continuing on our Java journey through Array2 series of exercises on the Codingbat website. And I think last time we finished up with Not Alone, and we're moving on. We've got 5 exercises left. Should be able to finish that up in this episode before moving on to another section. Zero front, return an array that contains the exact same numbers as the given array but rearranged so all zeros are grouped at the start of the array. The order of the non-zero numbers does not matter, so 1001 becomes 0011. You may modify and return the given array or make a new array. So let me see. So int, we'll call it answer. And let me see, it's going to have the same number of elements. Okay, let me see. And we're going to create a count integer. Let me see, and if nums I is equal to 0, then we're going to increment that count. And of course we're using I in our for loop, and we can do that because this is a different for loop. It's not nested inside the first one, remember. If it was nested inside the first for loop, then we'd want to use a different variable for our incrementor. Speaking of incrementor, I need another variable here. Let me see, and if nums I, as we increment through the entire array, is not equal to 0, then we're going to write it to our array, our answer array. Answer j equals nums I, and we're going to increment j. Now that's going to put it at the beginning, so we're going to use count plus j. That way we're going to skip over number of spaces equal to the number of zeros we have. Should do it. There we go. Alright, on to the next one. Without 10, return a version of the given array where all the 10s have been removed. The remaining element should shift left towards the start of the array as needed, and the empty spaces at the end of the array should be 0. So 1, 10, 10, 2 yields 1, 2, 0, 0. You may modify and return the given array or make a new array. Let me see. So an integer array, okay, so let's go ahead and we'll count our 10s. We don't have a count. Oh, we do have a count. I thought I forgot to put it up there. There we go. So we've got our count integer, variable. So, and this is very much like the other problem we just did. So C and I. Alright, so if nums I is not equal to 10, then answer J will be assigned the value in nums I. And then we have to remember to increment J. J is over here, so J is not going to change. I will go up by 1 each iteration through this loop. J will not change because of that for loop. We need to manually increment it inside the for loop there. And that should do it. Unless I made a typo somewhere. No typos. So, nothing real complicated there, but you know, it's getting a little more complicated. But the idea is just to break it down the problem to its individual parts that can be, the logic of which could be handled individually there. Okay, 0 max. Return a version of the given array where each 0 value in the array is replaced by the largest odd value to the right of the 0 in the array. If there's no odd value to the right of the 0, leave the 0 as a 0. So we're going to have to read, basically we're reading from, we can read from left to the right in the array, and then when we find a 0, read everything to the right to find the largest odd number. I might require a loop within a loop. It might be better to read from right to left and grab the biggest odd and then replace the 0 we find. Here, let me go ahead and start. So int max, and it's going to default to 0. Reading from right to the left, we're going to start I is equal to, let's see, nums length minus 1, and then I is greater than or equal to 0. And then we're going to decrement I, or increment by -1, decrease it by 1 each iteration. So we need to find the biggest odd numbers. So what we're going to do is, if nums I is not equal to 0 and it is odd and nums I is greater than the current value of max, which we initialized as 0. If that is all the case, then we're going to replace the value of max with the value of nums I. Okay, and the last iteration through the loop, so nums I, if nums I equals 0, okay, nums I equals 0, then we're going to put max, no, we're going to write nums I, the current value of max. I should return nums. There we go. Now there's another way to do that. That is, what we're doing here is we're reading from right to left. So we've got 3. That's odd. Well, we found a 0. Okay, 3 is odd. It's not 0. And it's bigger than max because we initialized it 0. Then next time we go through, we find a 0. We found a 0, so we're going to put max in it. Max is 3. Then we come here, and then that is, it's not a 0, but it's bigger than our current max, because max is now 3. So we update max. We don't change it though. Now we found a 0. Max has been updated to 5, so we write a 5. And if you see here, 3, 3, 5, 5. And this passes all the tests. Now there's another way to do it. If you read from left to right, when you find a 0, we don't do anything with this one. We found a 0. Now you use another loop to read all the characters to the right and find the largest one, in this case a 3. That is the largest odd one, and we write that. The problem with that is that it involves a loop within a loop, which we really want to avoid, and I think we're not even supposed to use 2 loops in these exercises. And it says 1 loop. I don't know if they hold us to that, but you generally want to avoid nested for loops because they're some serious hit to efficiency with that. Let's say you have 100. Let's say you have 100 elements to go through. Well, if you have 100 elements, then to go through 200 would be twice as long. Okay, now if you have 100 elements and then you have a loop within a loop and it is also going through 100 elements, well then you're talking about that would be 10,000 iterations. So but try to avoid nesting loops within loops, but it's not always possible, but generally to be avoided. This next one, even, odd. Return an array that contains the exact same numbers as the given array, but rearranged so that all the even numbers come before all the odd numbers. Other than that, the numbers can be in any order. You may modify and return the given array or make a new array. So let me see. So Brave integers, and we'll call it answer because it's not broke. Why fix it? And it's going to be the same length. So nums length. Okay. So I have int j for our incrementer there. I'm going to put if int if nums I modulo 2 equals 0, that is if it's even, then answer j is going to be assigned the value of nums I, and then we remember to increment j there. Now this is kind of a naive solution. There's a better way to do this. I'll show you that in a moment. If nums I modulo 2 is equal to 1, that means it's odd, then answer j is going to be assigned nums I, and then remember to increment the j. Then we'll return answer. Okay. We can actually do this with one loop. Okay, notice it says the numbers can be in any order. So we take out this for loop, okay, there's only two possibilities. If it's if it's even, then this is what we do. But if it's not even, it necessarily is odd. And if it's odd, then answer length minus j is going to be towards the end of the array. So if it's even, we plop it here on the front. If it's odd, we go all the way to the back and put it there. And it should be -1 because that will prevent us from being out of bounds. Now if I click on this, we're going to have some errors, I bet, because we're incrementing this j in the wrong spot there. Because if we have two loops, we want j to increment every time, whether it's even or odd. So let's put j there. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, you know what I did? Yeah, I know why it doesn't work. Because say we put the first two are even, now we're incrementing j. So if we put j, the third one is odd, it won't go to the very end. It'll go the third from the end. Well, that's what I get for trying this stuff on the fly, huh? Pretty sure you could do it with one loop, though. I'm pretty sure we can do that with one loop, but this is the most simplistic solution, I think. I think we could do that with one loop. I might go back to that one. Okay, so FizzBuzz, slightly more difficult version of the famous FizzBuzz problem, which is sometimes given as a first problem for job interviews. Consider the series of numbers beginning at start and running up to but not including end. So for example, start 1 and 5 gives the series 1, 2, 3, 4. Return a new string array containing the string form of these numbers, except for multiples of 3 use fizz instead of the number. Multiples of 5 use buzz, and for multiples of both 3 and 5 use FizzBuzz. In Java, string.value of XXX will make the string form of an int or other type. This version is a little more complicated than the usual version, since you have to allocate and index into an array instead of just printing, and we vary the start end instead of just always doing 1 to 100. The underlying logic here is pretty much the same as the FizzBuzz problem, but we do have a few little twists there. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our array. So actually, out of habit, making an integer array. It's a string array. So string answer equals new. String, and it's going to be end minus start for the length. And I don't think we need a holder variable. We're going to iterate through the entire array and do our checks on the fly. So I don't think we need a variable there. So for int 1 equals 0, then answer length. Okay, so first we'll check for FizzBuzz. So if I plus start modulo 3 equals Yeah, start modulo 3 equals 0, and I plus start modulo 3, I'm sorry, modulo 5 equals 0. Now I'm going to need some more enclosures here because I'm afraid it's going to be start modulo 3 and then it's going to add I. And we need it to be I plus start modulo 3. So we're going to put these enclosures there. Okay, so if it's evenly divisible by both 3 and 5. Okay, if that's the case, then actually I think I do need an incrementer here. So answer J equals fizz buzz. No, I don't need it because I is going to be 0 and increment every time automatically. I don't need that after all. So answer I equals fizz buzz. And if that's the case, we're going to go back to the top of the loop for the next one. So we're going to continue. Okay, and the next one, if I plus start modulo 3 equals 0, answer I is going to be assigned, what's 3, fizz? Yes, fizz. And continue. And next one, if I plus start modulo 5 equals 0, answer I is going to be assigned buzz. Continue. And then if none of those are true, answer I will be assigned the string version, string value of nums I. And we return answer. See how many typos I made. There it is. I'll find symbol nums line 18. What? Oh, nums. Oh, I didn't use nums. Should be just I. No, should be I plus start. There we go. And there we did it. There we go. And I think that's it for Array2. Okay, it looks like, what's our next one here? Array2. I think we're going to go to string 3. We've got Array3, but we didn't get string 3 yet. So I think we do string 3, then Array3. These are just kind of over on the sides there. I guess we'll do that and then maybe grab these to do lambdas and maps. I'm not sure how hard these problems are, recursion and such. But we'll pick up with string 3 next video. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, refer to the channel. Any questions, comments, requests, I'd be sure happy to oblige. You have a great day. See you next time.